dark brown, no red.
Your mics are on. Your mics are on.
Oh, mics are on. Hi, everybody.
Mics are hot.
These are on.
Hi, Mom.
She's not on right now.
No, you don't want
No. Okay.
She's on. Hold on, I'm getting situated. Can you put this over there? I don't need this.
Sure.
I brought my journey book with me.
Okay.
All right, guys. Hello and welcome to another podcast. No Cobra Kai talk today, guys. Sorry. We are going to be talking about health, fitness, and all that good stuff. Before, I have to share it. Sorry. But we're going to be talking about health and fitness today. We have a couple topics that we want to talk about, and you guys can send in your questions. We have Star Lord, our producer, and Tori, our other producer, monitoring the chat right now.
Hi,
So
Val.
any questions? Hey, Val, any questions you have? He'll let us know, or she'll let us know. Okay, let me just share this real quick. And well, I guess while I'm sharing it, we can talk about, we can start actually. So the first question is, how did we get on this fitness journey? What started us on this health kick? Do you want to start us off real quick? Because I'm going to share this while we're.
Well, I don't know. I always was a athlete my whole life, so fitness was always a part of my life. So I think what's important is like looking back at my childhood of how active I was and how that instilled like the importance of movement and, activity. And I was a softball player. We both were softball
Yes.
players.
Mhm.
I started when I was 9 years old, and not even realizing that I was working out, And just, it was a lot of training as we got older with my dad. Shout out to my dad. I'm sure he's listening.
Pops.
So it was a lot of extra things that we were doing outside of our school practice. We played in tournaments. We worked out. We went to pitching lessons. So we were always preparing for something. And I think back then I was working out for something. It was always a goal in mind. Like, oh, I have to get stronger. I want to hit the ball farther. I need to strengthen my arms to pitch faster. So my mentality was all about softball and going to the next level. So that was really like, I mean, you played, but
Well, yeah, like we even were talking before we started because we were trying to figure out how to start this.
it's a
And
lot
we're
to
like,
talk
oh
about.
yeah, we could talk about softball because all three of us, my other sister is not here, but shout out to Michelle. Hi. But Dad had a gym in the basement,
Mhm.
and I hated it.
I hated
so
it. Sorry,
much.
Dad. I hated
He's
the gym
like,
in the
You
basement.
gotta go work out. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
We had a treadmill. We had like a barbell down there,
Mhm.
and he had like a whole
It was like a universal machine.
universal thing. Yeah. I hated it so much. And it's so weird because now I love it. So it's like, if I wish I could go back to those days, and I wonder how different it would be. I'm to keep turning to you. How different it would be then.
Well, I think that we were kids. So again, it was like I just wanted to run and play softball. I just wanted to be on the field. I just wanted to hold a softball. That was fitness for me. So the work behind it wasn't thrilling to me. And it wasn't until I went into college, my college coach was very big on stamina. And I remember we would run a lot. And I never had to do that in high school or even on my tournament teams. We didn't run that much. I mean, it's softball. So I remember us asking him one time, why are we running so much? He was the assistant basketball coach as well. I'm like, why are we running so much? And he said, you need to be in shape because you're playing double headers and you don't really get a break in between in college. So he'd have us run the mile under a certain time. I think it was like maybe under 9 minutes or so. And if we didn't, you know, meet 9 minutes or below, we didn't start. So it started with that. We did a lot of sprinting. So it was a lot of working out then. And I remember starting to kind of get on the treadmill a little bit more and get myself into shape and working out off season. But even then, it was all about softball. So after I graduated, I'm like, all right, what am I, I really didn't feel the need to like lose weight or not at that time. So fitness wasn't, I had nothing to work out for, in my opinion, back then.
Yeah.
And that just progressively changed as time went on.
I still remember Michelle at like 5 a.m. in the morning blasting
Rocky.
that Rocky 4 soundtrack. So I'm sleeping, not ready to get up for school yet. And here, dun, 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 dun. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
a.m. running or walking on the treadmill for like, I don't even know, 30 minutes before school. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Oh God.
It was awful.
Yeah.
I hated that. I hated running on the treadmill. I still hate it, but
Well, I mean,
know.
I think like my journey now is just, there's a lot of other factors that have gone into it. Getting older, you know, not having, the need for movement. I realized that when I sit still, even going for a walk, doing something active makes me happier. Um,
agreed.
And I was so happy that I got into snowboarding in the winter because it gave me some kind of activity. Because a lot of times, if you don't have a gym in your house or you don't have an area where you feel like you could work out, there's always that excuse or reason like, oh, it's too cold out. I can't go outside or I can't run. When it gets warmer, I'm going to go for a bike ride. When it gets warmer, I'm going to walk. And I just started eliminating those excuses. But I really, I think now it's more about not working out for a sport, but working out for me and my overall health. So one of the major things is, it limits my anxiety, which I tend to have if I'm sitting still. And I find that the activity just naturally releases, I don't know, you could speak to this a little bit more than me, but those endorphins that just make you happier.
It's supposed to relieve stress, anxiety, all that good stuff, improve concentration, all that good thing. So it's good. You want to release those endorphins. Like a lot of people are like, I'm so stressed out. It's actually really good for your mental health too, which is what we're going to be talking about too with the self-care. It's just overall just great. And it's like, I call it my stress-free zone. So like if I'm stressed out or like having a bad day or something, I go to the gym and I just lift weights or I run and totally clears my mind. It's great. So,
and you sleep better.
Yes, you do sleep better.
And it really is all connected because I love to sleep as a kid, but I can't sleep in. I'm always up, I'm waking up and I'm not really in that deep sleep. And I find that when I'm moving and when I'm exercising, I can sleep a good solid 7 hours. And even when my alarm goes off, I'm groggy. I don't want to get up, but I'm able to kind of get myself together quicker. And so I think that's important. So it all ties together because the sleep's important, the movement's important, and nutrition definitely.
But we have all these topics. Like it's just, we'll just branch into each topic.
But you got into the fitness, I mean, lifting and all of that way before
I played, getting back to the softball. I didn't play in college. I ended up playing a road ball and then I started playing arc ball. So very hard to get into arc ball though, because you're going from fast pitch to arc ball. But I started playing arc ball and I'm like, I'm so slow on the bases. And somebody that I used to be friends with actually introduced me to Star Lord.
Our producer.
Our producer. And I was like, listen, I want to get faster on the bases. I want to be stronger. And that's how it started. I mean, I started to notice that I liked being in the gym more than the field. So I was like, I would still play ball. And I'm just like, no, I'd rather be in the gym lifting weights. And that's how it started. And I didn't even think about becoming a personal trainer until I started getting into the gym. And he actually mentioned it. He was like, you should be a personal trainer. I'm like, nah, I'm like not good with I don't think I'll be good at it. Here I am today. But no, that's how I got started, and now I'm addicted, and I love it, and I'm just addicted to being healthy. And I did the bodybuilding, I did the Spartan races, and now pretty much I my goal right now is to just be healthy and fit, and that kind of ties into
Well, I think that,
dad a little bit.
yeah, I mean, I think that like I said earlier, with getting older, for
Yeah.
me, I'm the older one, you know, my age played a factor. I was like, oh, I'm
You
not
don't have to
moving
tell
as
them
quick.
that.
Well, um, I'm not moving as quickly, or I have a, you know, I was experiencing lower back pain. I
Oh,
said,
me
I don't
too. Yeah.
understand. I never had back problems. And then I used the excuse of, well, I'm playing co-ed softball. I'm running a lot in
Mhm.
left field. It's just the impact of me running, and it's just all the years of playing softball. But as time went on, and now I realize that my core was just really weak because I don't experience that back pain anymore. And it's not like I'm sitting there doing things solely for my back, but just core exercises and that movement.
Sorry. Sorry,
My
my
father making
dad.
his comment. It's 10 years to figure out about exercising. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Love his
Seriously. Yeah.
snarkiness. Um, so, you know, it I was experiencing that, and I said, you know what, this is I feel
Oh.
like I have all these aches and pains at such a like a young age. I shouldn't have those aches and pains. And then on top of that, you know, watching my father's health,
Mhm.
his roller coaster ride of health problems, and you know, whether it be diabetes or you know, lymphoma. Thank God he's in remission twice. Now he's in dialysis, and you
Mhm.
look at, you know, and even the history of our family with who has high blood pressure, who has this and that, and you just want to, I guess my theory now is that there's so much we can do to prevent some of those things, right? A lot of times we're so reactionary to it. Oh, we have a problem, let's go fix it. But my mindset now is I don't want those problems. I mean, sometimes it's just the cards are dealt the way that they're dealt, but if I could do everything in my power to prevent, you know, my A1C or my sugar level going up, or preventing being on insulin, or
Mhm.
you know, just giving myself the best chance, and prevent that, that drives me. You know, what I'm doing right now is not dieting. I, you know, I have lost weight, I have toned, but I'm eating more than I ever have. You know, but I think
Mhm.
it's, you
Very
know, that
important.
it comes to the nutrition and the fact that there's so many fad diets out there, and
Oh
there's
my
so
God.
many, so much information. And you would educate me on this all the time. You tell me these things. And
Mhm.
again, I listen and I absorb it and I know, but sometimes you just don't know how to do it. And I'm like, I am eating healthy. I'm eating chicken. I'm eating salad. I'm eating a little bit of
Because
this.
some people think they're eating healthy, and then they like look at it and they're like, oh, like you realize like, oh man, I'm not, or I'm not eating enough.
I'm not eating enough. It
Yeah,
was my
that was a
problem.
lot of. I get a lot of people that don't eat enough.
Yeah.
More than I'm eating all this bad stuff. It's like I'm like you ate at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm?
You ate at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then you don't eat till like 6 o'clock at night. Like I'm like, no, you have to eat throughout the day. It's and they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you got to fuel your body. Your body is like a car, or it's like a furnace. You have to keep feeding it using the fuel as your food. So think of it as a car. You got to feed it gas to make it run right, right? So the gas is the fuel, it's the food, and your body is the car. So you got to think of it that way. You got to eat throughout the day to perform better. Yes. Christine, you're right. Journaling is very important. I tell my clients this all the time. Do you journal at all? I think I told you. But
You told me about it and I started it. I have to do it more. I'm not really journaling, but we'll get into that.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's just writing out what you're eating, how you're feeling, uh, what you're eating during the day, what you're exercising, and it's just good to have, even though you're not handing
You're
it
being
to your
mindful
yeah.
of what's working and
Mhm.
what's bothering you. There's some times that like we don't realize, oh, you know, we're going to be
Good job,
TMI a little bit
Christine.
here, but if you're
Christine listens to me.
bloated, if you're bloated or you feel a certain way,
Yeah.
you know, if you're mindful to know what you had eaten that day, or you'll see patterns that develop of, you know what, I thought eggs were a really good source of protein, but I'm kind of intolerant. Every time I
Mhm.
eat eggs, this tends to happen, or you're right. So do you find like you, when you track that, you're more mindful of
Yeah, like if
How you feel?
I'll write like that when we did the last podcast and we had sushi. It was a cheat day.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that too.
I had brown rice.
Yeah. That certain things like you're
Hi,
bloated
Colleen.
or sorry to say gassy, like stuff like that. Like it's like, why do I feel like that? And like I'll mark it. I'll mark it
Mhm.
like, okay, I felt, bloated or whatever. So it's like, okay, I'll keep track of what I'm eating and like I'm like, okay, maybe I won't have the soy sauce or maybe I won't have that next time. And then like listen, if I was allergic to something and like say pizza or whatever, I'm just throwing stuff out there. If I'm allergic to it, I'm not going to eat it. It's good, but I'm not going to eat it. Like I haven't had ice cream and I don't even know how long.
But the thing is, like, I don't deprive myself. And I think that's important to understand too. Like you even called, you said something about a cheat day.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I consider sometimes, yeah, some days I want to just eat what I want. But I realize now as I'm limiting I'm really trying to eliminate processed food, the bloating goes away. You feel better. I'm less fatigued
Mhm.
and I'm seeing more definition in my body. And it's not that I'm eating less. It's that, all right, instead of the boxed mac and cheese, I'm going to make mac and cheese.
Yeah.
And instead of, powder as cheese, I'm going to be shredding actual cheese and portioning it and making wheat pasta or throwing some broccoli on it. And it's like yummier than the boxed. So little things like that. So then when I do quote unquote cheat, sometimes I will feel a major difference and then you just don't want to feel like that. So I limit, I'm still making good choices, but I don't deprive myself. If I want to have a treat, I have a treat, but I'm learning to like make things a little bit more,
Mhm.
like more homemade stuff because you know what's going into it.
Yeah.
And I freeze a lot of things. So I want those little, those cookies that I made fresh, homemade. I'm using better ingredients. I freeze some things if I want a cookie instead of reaching for the bagged processed Oreos, which I absolutely love and are addicting.
Lady Gaga Oreos.
I'll satisfy my sweet tooth with something a little bit more healthier,
Mm.
I guess.
Like I said, like with the sweets, like I'm a big sweet person. But I haven't like usually I would go for the cookie or I'd go for, the candy bar. And now I like those nut butters that I have now. Like I'll go for that. Like I'll have a spoonful of that and that like kills my sweet craving. Like these almond butters or peanut butters that I use. So it's healthier than actually going for, a candy bar or something like that or fruit, stuff like that. It's really
Well, I
good.
think like the important thing too for me is like we all have to like have accountability,
Mhm.
right? But a lot of times we look for other people to hold us accountable. But what I'm learning in the last few months that I've really been intense with just like scheduling the time for myself to think about my body, to think about my health, to think about my sleep,
Mhm.
is that I'm only competing with myself.
You
So
versus you.
yeah, I can't. I used to rely on you all the time, like Danielle. I'm going to go to the gym after school, and we would do it when we'd work out. But I'd always say I'm not really seeing results. Like I'm seeing results, but I'm not. I'm working out or I'm riding my bike 20 miles. I'm doing all these things.
Mhm.
Why am I not seeing my body change drastically? And I look at your body and the tone in your body and
This
things like
story.
that, and I'm like, I don't understand what I'm doing. So aside from not eating as much as I needed to, I was eating the wrong things. And I was also, I needed to kind of not rely on you, like use you as like a frame of reference and a coach. And you inspire me all the time with everything that you post and everything that you do. And you inspire a lot of people. But I had to make up the mind for myself.
Abs
You
are made
know,
in the kitchen. Damn
they
right they
are.
are.
You say that all the time, and it's so true. You
I
are what you
forgot what
eat.
I read it was you can't out train a
A
bad
bad
diet.
diet.
It's really true.
Hey, Ave.
There's Tori.
Tori.
Um it's really true. Like it's once you're a nutritionist, and I don't like to say diet, I like to say healthy eating because it's really like there's people like my mom, I'm shouting you out right now, that don't have to eat so bland. She's like, I want to eat a salad and chicken every
Yeah.
day. I was like, you don't have
Yeah.
to eat that all day.
Question about dairy.
Oh, Colleen.
When is dairy
Mm.
Oh, the lactose. I mean, it could be a lactose intolerance. I mean, I don't really.
I
I
find that
don't
I
really.
bloat
Yeah.
with dairy a lot too,
I don't.
Colleen.
I try to avoid it. The only thing I really eat dairy is Greek yogurt.
There's I've
But
heard that there's some, I don't know, the enzymes or something in certain things with lactose and dairy that we're not necessarily made to digest, right? There's a lot that whatever enzymes or things are in certain cheese
yeah,
and things like that. So when I eat
milk
dairy, I
too.
don't eat a lot of
Oh.
dairy, but I'll eat like a Greek yogurt. I don't drink a lot of milk.
Mhm.
I do eat cheese, but I'm very mindful of like how often I eat it and I try to measure it out. But yeah, there's something, milk will bother me. And
I mean, Colleen, you could try maybe almond milk or coconut milk. I mean, it doesn't taste any different. I usually, if I'm gonna use milk, I use that instead. I can't use whole milk because whole milk destroys me. It bloats me. It makes it just. I don't feel right.
So Colleen and I posted a summary of why I caused bloating.
Oh, Colleen, my Star Lord
sorry, we crack ourselves up with that.
posted. What was it? What did you post? A summary of why that happens. So if you want to check that out, if you have any more questions, shout it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't eat dairy anymore. It's just it makes me
So-
sick.
Mom had a couple of twice she said something about motivation.
Oh yeah.
How
Mom,
do you motivate somebody to start?
mom.
And it's tough because it's
Oh,
hard.
yeah.
It's hard because you can talk to people, like we're having a conversation and we can discuss
You're welcome.
our journeys, and our experiences, but everybody's experience is going to be different, right? What you like to do as a workout is going to be different. The foods you choose to eat, the programs, like I see, like Colleen, you mentioned Weight Watchers. I mean, yeah,
Weight Watchers is great.
it's great. I mean, it holds you accountable in a sense where it gives you points. It tells you, so you're kind of checking yourself and saying, I can't go over this. So some kind of like accountability. There's My Fitness Pal, which is free. You guys, logging in activity and water. Water is extremely important too to flush out your system. And just kind of knowing that, I mean, I started the Beachbody programs. So there's a tracking app on there. And I know that I'm given a certain amount of vegetables and a certain amount of proteins and a certain amount of carbs and everything, per day. So every time I eat something, I deduct it from, if I have 4 vegetables in a day, I eat a vegetable, I deduct it. So I know I have 3 more and I could space that out
Mhm.
wherever I need. Or I could double up on a vegetable. If I have a salad for lunch, that's 1 veggie and then I can throw another veggie on top of it with a dressing. So it's like anything, even the journaling that you talked about, something that just makes you mindful. A lot of us eat. Number one, when I'm sitting on the couch
Mhm.
watching TV, if I really think about if I'm hungry or if I'm bored,
Yeah.
or if it's
Boredom,
just that's
definitely.
what you do when you're on the couch, right? I'm watching Netflix and let me grab the chips or
Mhm.
so I try to make sure that if I do feel snackish, and I do when I'm on the couch, that I'm grabbing something a little healthier and I'm still getting the crunch, or you just have to, you just get to know yourself and what is going to keep
Star-Lord.
you.
Sorry.
How do you deal with getting overwhelmed with other things and dealing with diet?
Yeah. Good question.
That's mother. Journaling helps. I know you used to do that. Like maybe, you know,
I-
that's I don't know. The journaling helps a lot. Talking, about it to somebody helps. Trying to
I-
get motivated.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, life is overwhelming.
Not
And Mom,
Dad.
I mean, and a lot of what you're doing is overwhelming. We all have busy lives. We all have not enough time. There's never
Yeah.
enough time. But there is, like, when I think
Yeah.
about it, what I've done differently is that I schedule time for myself every day,
Mhm.
and everything else is scheduled around it. For me, a lot of you are going to think I'm crazy. I think I'm crazy because I never thought I would do this, but I actually get up before, like wake up in the morning and I work out before I go to work.
I can vouch for this because
That-
I get the alert on my watch.
She
when
gets
she
the alert
works
in the morning.
out.
That doesn't work for everybody. But for me, even though I'm a teacher, I get out at 2:30. I was going to Danielle and Dave's gym by 3. I'm exhausted by the end of my teaching day. I'm thinking about dinner. I have to do this. I have to do that. When I wake up and I say, no matter what, from 5 a.m. True story, because I have to leave so early. From 5 to 5:30, I'm going to get a half-hour workout in. All my stuff is laid out the night before. So I have no excuse as to I have no time. I have to be on the road. I have to do this. I have to make lunch. I prep. Preparation is everything. And you schedule it with your self. Schedule time for yourself, because we schedule appointments. We schedule nail appointments. We schedule hair appointments. We schedule doctor's appointments. How can we never schedule an appointment with ourselves? And I think that's what I'm learning to do. And that's
You gotta put
given me
yourself
the
first.
most success.
That Hope's husband or
Matt.
Matt.
is using their Facebook and saying she's loving this journey very much like mine. Having positive people and supporting people around you is a big part.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank
And I know I've
you.
seen, we've talked about
Hey,
this. I've seen
Val.
your journey, and your guys are an inspiration. You guys,
Mhm.
Matt and Val actually got me into all the bike
Yeah,
riding.
they're always moving. You
I
guys
can't
are
wait to get back on my bike
awesome.
and with you guys. But that's a huge thing that I love to do is biking and biking the
You got
trails.
me into the biking.
Yeah. Being outside, getting fresh air, exploring all the wharves. They get that
So
joke.
much fun.
But it's inspiring too when you see people doing things and talking about it.
Mhm.
And then you have to, I think it's all mindset too. Making up your mind
Yeah.
to what you want to put into it and what you want to get out of it.
I actually was talking to one of my clients. I won't say her name, but she said that she was like upset. She looked in the mirror. She was very upset at what she saw. So me and her have had these conversations about, diet and healthy eating and, working out and all that stuff. And I told her, I was like, listen, I was like, you have to take care of you first. Even if you put like a calendar on your wall and be like, okay, workouts with Danny or Tuesday, Thursday, I'm going to do cardio Monday and Wednesday and whatever, just to have it on the wall. So it's right there in front of you. Mom, that's another thing you could do too. I know you have the calendar, you can write it out just to have like all your stuff lined up. I think you said that before, like trying to have your plan for the day.
You have to plan you have to prep.
Yeah.
And that's what's, if you sit there and you say, I want to eat healthy, and this goes for anybody, for me too.
Dad said it's like listening to him. So Dad, we're repeating what you're saying. See,
Thanks,
then,
Dad.
then you taught us well, because we're repeating what you told us.
He's like, if
We
only you
took it
listen,
in.
if only you listened when you were
Yep,
teenagers.
we're like sponges.
So I schedule, like I said, I schedule my time. You journal. I don't typically journal. Is it going to be beneficial to me? Absolutely. Yeah. I don't journal. You're like solid with that.
Well,
we were just snacking on something before. Yeah. She goes, how many carrots did I eat? Writing it down. She's just making a list. Yep. And she has her own system and her own methods. I post videos. You guys are seeing a lot of, so I'm not a huge poster before this, but not only am I trying to put positive things on the internet, because the world is crazy and we've dealt with so much over this last year. Mm-hmm. Not only is it positivity that I want to spread, but it also holds me accountable. When I throw on a video and I'm also learning, like, am I doing the move correctly? Mm-hmm. I'm clipping things. I post it and it's just motivating. And then I could pick a fun song, and then I joke around about how all the songs are on my karaoke list, which is now like 300 songs long.
Speaking of songs, what's your favorite, what's your go-to song for a workout, like to pump you up? What's your song? Anything? No?
Not
Rocky,
really.
all the way.
Rock.
No one cares.
Hi, Monzo.
Keep it PG. Thank you.
So, but I think that everybody needs to figure out what they want out of it. So this was another thing. I had to figure out, if I just said to you, I want to lose weight. I want to lose 10 pounds. What happens now when I lose the 10 pounds? Where do I go from there? You know what I mean? So I think for me, what's changed is I don't just want to lose the 10 pounds. I don't just want to diet. I want to be healthy. Mm-hmm. I want to limit my anxiety. I want to be in a situation, love our dad dearly, seeing him struggle with basic things that we take advantage of, or for granted, I should say, walking from here to there, standing up, and having that moment where you're like, I want to do everything I can to prevent that. Yeah. And then I'm also listening to a really good thing. I know you guys, we appreciate you guys signing on and listening to this
thank you,
and
guys.
participating. But I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. So when do people have time? Like Colleen, I'm going to give you a shout out. You have a commute like I do. We have a commute in the morning. We're in our cars for quite a bit.
Mhm.
So instead of just, I love to listen to the radio, I love to listen to my music, but maybe on the way home, I'm listening to a podcast or I'm reading a book that talks about health and nutrition, and I'm learning things constantly, and I'm educating myself on what I thought was good isn't necessarily good. And I'm reading a lot up on gut health
Oh,
and
yeah.
the things that we eat and how we fuel our bodies, and diversifying the things that we eat can prevent some of these high blood pressure, diabetes, Alzheimer's, cancer, kidney disease. It's just there's a lot out there, and we all have, most of us have iPhones and smartphones. A lot of this is free. You just download podcast and you hear conversations like this, and it just kind of makes you think and, decide
You
on.
can even listen to this in your car. I commute.
I don't know if they want, but
Thanks, Star Lord.
yeah, stress is, I'm telling you, the working out movement
Tori.
eliminates. Listen, I'm still stressed. I mean, we all have
Yeah.
stressful lives. There's stress going on, but stress takes a toll on your body.
Yep.
Stress will make you
That's that cortisol.
Fatigue. Yeah.
That's what the endorphins are for. You gotta move. It helps with that. Relieve stress.
Yeah. And the anxiety and stress, like that movement and moving your body. And even if it's just, you know what, I'm going to go for a walk after dinner, it also is proven to help digestion to move after dinner. And, and I think portion control is what's important too. We live in the States is just, it's unbelievable when you go out to dinner.
Oh, I was going to bring this up.
Go ahead.
No. But I was going to tell them about the thing with the salad. Remember on Beachbody, she describes how you're ordering something out and
you think it's healthy.
You think it's healthy, but you can.
Yeah, she goes over how, like, let's say you want to eat healthy and you go to wherever, the deli or somewhere where you get a salad, and they always give it to you in those like big containers.
Yep.
And it doesn't look huge when it's handed to you, but you sit there and you're eating it and you're full, but you keep eating it because it's salad, right? But she dumps it on a plate, and she dumps it on a platter plate, like you would feed to your family on a holiday.
Like the family.
And she said, this is one person salad. Look how much it fills up on this platter. And then she portions out what it should be. And it's really significant, nice, healthy portion. But she's like, look at what you should be eating compared to what you're getting. So even though you're eating salad, sometimes you can eat too much of a good thing too. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm learning is portion control. So instead of eating a huge dinner with a ton of things, I'm not going to dinner famished. I'm hungry, but I'm leaving that meal satisfied and full, but not sick. And I'm not starving myself throughout the day. If you consistently eat and snack on things, you're not going to find yourself reaching for the chips as much or those snacks that are quick.
Even with like the portions, because people are like, I don't know how much I should eat. How much protein should I eat? How much carbs? So Star Lord actually told me this trick where I think it was use the palm of your hand. Mm-hmm. So I think it's for women, it's the palm of your hand right here.
For protein?
Yeah. And then the men, I think it was the whole hand. I think that's what he said. Carbs was your fist, like about the portion of your fist. And you could always double. I mean, I'm not saying pile on the veggies, but you can have like a couple that like it just to fill you up a little bit more, add more greens in there, and that'll fill you up a little bit. But that's another way to look at it. So if you don't know exactly how much protein should I have, 4 ounces, should I have 5 ounces, 6 ounces, 3 ounces, you don't know. That's another way you can
measure
determine it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Lord. I'm not a big fan of it, but it doesn't work for me. I mean, I've had clients that have done it, that it does work.
Intermittent fasting?
Yeah. So you don't eat, isn't it like you don't eat till like 1:00 in the afternoon or something like that? Star Lord.
Is Mondo still on?
There's like a window of time that
There's
you
like a
eat.
window. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he was
I'm
telling me
not a
about it.
big, yeah, Mondo said that he did that too. I'm
I
not
think
a
it's
big fan
supposed to
of that.
be good for, I don't know, I don't really know, but it's supposed to regulate blood sugar and things like that. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like, you know, you're
Yeah,
yeah,
starving
you're
yourself
kind of
pretty
depriving
much.
yourself a
Yeah.
certain portion of the day and you're eating all in one window. But
Mhm.
I find that if I'm eating throughout the day, my last meal or my snack is usually at a decent time where I'm going to
Yeah.
bed satisfied. I'm not going to bed on a full stomach, but I don't feel the need to. It's not sustainable for me.
Yeah.
Personally, other
It
people
works
love
for
it.
certain, yeah, it works for certain people. I've done it and it doesn't work for me.
Don't limit
Yeah.
carbs.
Oh, that's another thing.
A lot of
That is
people
like
will
a big thing.
eliminate
Yep.
carbohydrates,
Carbs are
and
not
they're
bad.
not the devil.
Only certain carbs are bad.
Right. I eat carbs all the time.
Yeah. Carbs give you energy. You're supposed to be in your diet. I have a carb with every meal.
I limit myself right now to 2 carbs a day.
Yeah.
I'm going to eventually move to 3.
Mhm.
And I realize when I want the carb. I find myself, I always need a carb at dinner. That's me. Some
Hey,
people
Stacy.
may not.
Um,
Lunch, not so much. Or maybe like in the morning,
Yeah.
I'll switch off between a protein. Maybe one day I want oatmeal. So a lot of times I'll do a carb earlier in the day and I'll do a carb at night. I realize I have a sweet tooth. So I save one of my fruits for at night, or I do like a nut butter or organic maple syrup, a little drizzle of that,
so
something
good.
else to give you like the sweetness where you're not eating all the chocolate and
Mhm.
and things like that. So little and it's delicious. I have some recipes and I'll share some recipes with people. I'll start posting some recipes of the food doesn't we're Italian.
Mhm.
We grew up
There's
food
no
was everything.
portions.
There's no portion control.
No, definitely not. Not when you're
Right? There's
Italian.
no portion control.
Pasta galore.
I like food too
chicken
much to
parm.
sit here and deprive myself for the rest of my life. I'm just going to be mindful in how much of it I'm having, substituting a couple of things out. But again, I'm continuing to educate myself on this. Dad wanted us to let everybody know that until he got sick, he was in shape.
Yeah,
Yep. He was running. He was very much in shape. And a lot of times,
He had, like big arms.
Yep. He's gone through a lot, but
Yeah.
he's walking around. Proud of him. He walked
Yay.
200 steps the other day. Go,
Nice,
Dad.
Dad. Keep going.
And he's trying to strengthen himself. And again, we tell him this all the time. Movement. Like he told us, you got to move. And he's been doing that this week. And, looking at that too and being so proud of him, you realize how I take that for granted.
You still got the fire, Dad. Still
Yeah.
got it.
We got a question from Val.
Mhm.
Marie.
Okay.
Did Weight Watchers 11 years ago and taught us portion control. Danielle using the palm of your hand is perfect portion. We'll use the measure and serving size.
Yeah.
Also use scales and measuring cups. How do you manage a night out drinking alcohol?
Good
when you
question.
want to get loose.
I'm
That's-
not. I don't really drink anymore, but I don't know how I would manage that when I did drink. I would instead of having like beer or like if I did have wine, I would have like a glass or two. I'm not saying that's the best thing, but I try to drink like vodka because I guess it's less calories. That's true, right? It's less calories.
Yeah, but I have a different philosophy, but go ahead.
Seltzer, but no, go ahead.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you kind of stop that. You do it occasionally.
Yeah.
I haven't cut it out altogether, but
Don't
what
you
I'll
use
do,
it as your carb
I
or
use it as
something?
my carb.
Yeah.
So Val, if we were going out to dinner to get loose, right, and go for some sushi or something, and I knew that, wow, I want a sushi roll and my carb, I'm eating rice, then I'll have like a glass of wine when I get 2 carbs, or I'll like not eat my carbs throughout the day and then I save, but I also don't go crazy with drinking heavily. So instead of having, that extra glass, and honestly, as I'm doing this, I rather have the food sometimes. So I'll sip on a glass of wine. You have your steak, you have your dinner, and then so a lot of times I'll swap it out with my carb. And it doesn't matter what alcohol it is. I mean, I don't, whether it's vodka, whether it's wine, but
Yeah.
anything in excess is bad because you have all the added sugars and things in alcohol and the processed food that we're eating. It may not say sugar, but there's so much processed stuff that your body is just not digesting.
I would rather eat I'd rather eat it than drink it. That's just me.
Yeah.
But I know everybody has their fixes. But
Well,
Star-Lord,
another
sorry.
thing, Val, too, I'm sorry, she was talking about eating out, is that I realized that I don't always have to order off the entree menu. Or maybe I share something with somebody off the entree menu. But a lot of times the appetizers and things when you go to a restaurant are huge. They're huge portions. So I've been starting to order, maybe I want the wings, maybe not fried, or maybe, I make some different choices. But if I am going to do something and go off a little bit when I go out, I don't have to eat this huge portion. Another trick that I learned too, and these are, what I've learned through educating myself and listening to podcasts and the whole beach body thing that I'm educating myself on, is like a lot of times we always get to go containers, but we get it at the end. So remember when we went to brunch that
we
one
went to brunch with
time?
Diana.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I want whole wheat pancakes, right? I'll get whole wheat pancakes. They were huge. There was no way I could finish them. I cut maybe a fourth of the stack and I couldn't even finish it. That's how big they were. But I had the container brought to me right away. And a lot of times when you pack it away in the beginning, you're not going to go back into it.
Yeah.
And so I just ate what was on my plate. I kind of portioned it out for myself. But
That's a
I mean,
good
you don't
idea,
have to do it that
actually,
way,
yeah.
but it's just a couple of things that I've tried.
Because how often do you eat the leftovers?
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, Star-Lord.
So how do you feel about vegetarianism? Do you get enough protein while eating vegetarian diet?
I don't know that much about vegetarians, but don't you have to take a vitamin for the protein? For extra B12? Is it B12? I don't know. Stacy, you know more than me.
But yeah, I mean, people.
I tried the vegetarian approach. I feel like I wasn't getting enough protein because I'm not like, I don't know that much about it. I would actually need to probably go to a nutritionist to kind of get or not a nutritionist, a dietitian, right? To know more about it. I'm not.
Well, I think that
gluten free and all that stuff.
you have to educate yourself on what those proteins are, because, like, for example, I'm not a vegetarian. And if I'm eating lentils or kidney beans or something that might be a protein to a vegetarian, it's a carb for me. Because as a vegetarian, you're probably getting your source of protein. I mean,
through, like,
vegetarians can eat
beans.
eggs and things
you
like
can
that.
eat
So
eggs, yeah.
there's,
But
I
how
think
much
that
eggs?
you can get a lot of protein. Listen, you can be completely, I'm reading up. Is that who asked that question?
Stacy.
Stacy.
Miss you.
There's a book I just read called Fiber Fueled, and it's all about a plant-based diet and gut health.
Yeah.
And he actually talks a lot about diversifying your plants and eating, and he gets a lot of protein. I follow him on Instagram. It's called Fiber Fueled, so you might be able to get some insight there.
That's another thing, but I forgot to bring up, like, since we're talking about like food and stuff, the nutrition labels. Like, even it's because I mentioned gluten free, and you mentioned organic maple syrup. Like, we were talking about this the other day. Like, not everything is what it seems.
Yes.
So if you look at the box, so you're in the store and you pick up a box of what? What's a good thing to
Raisin Bran?
Raisin Bran.
It's not
the
healthy.
Front says gluten free, fat free, whatever.
Fiber.
Fiber.
It's got fiber.
Look at the nutrition label. Do not go by the front of the box because it's very deceiving. If you you told me, I threw something out the other day because I'm like, oh yeah, I have this, and I was like, check the nutrition label.
Well, because she bought you.
I forgot
she
what I
had
bought.
sugar-free syrup.
Oh yeah.
And I said, well, if it's sugar-free, they had to put something in it to make it sugar-free. So check the label. So she looked at it and she couldn't even pronounce half of the things.
What does this mean?
Besides syrup, she was like stuttering over these words. I'm like, what is that? So I get organic maple syrup, and the only ingredient is organic maple syrup.
Yeah, it's really good.
And then even with peanut butter, I get peanut butter where the only two ingredients are peanuts and salt.
Salt, yeah.
And not everything else. So little things like that. And it tastes delicious still. It still tastes the same. But
it's just crazy how you look at all this like, oh my God.
Well,
people are like, oh, it said gluten free. I'm like,
and gluten free doesn't mean healthy though.
No.
There's
a lot of sugar.
Yeah. But they add other things when things are gluten free, and people have to be. I mean, whether it's celiac or another reason or intolerance, some people have to eliminate gluten, but just because I go to the gluten-free aisle, gluten has processed foods too.
Yeah.
You know, and really, like, I just try to, you taught me this a long time ago. And then I also listen to podcasts and everything that reinforces it now. But when you go food shopping, the
Mhm.
best thing you could do is shop the perimeter. That's the healthiest part of your shopping. Everything inside in those aisles, you really have to read labels because that's all the processed stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't buy I mean,
Yeah,
we
I
all
mean,
like
you have to get
things in
obviously
the
like,
middle aisles.
oats and pasta
Yeah.
and but you got to just look at the labels.
The choices, yeah.
But yeah, you have the produce, then you have the meat, then you have the
Mhm.
fish, then you have the dairy, and that's it, right? That was the perimeter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's shop that first,
Sugar, alcohol is worse.
and then leave. Wait, what does that say? Star Lord.
You know what? I'm still learning to read the nutrition
mother
labels too,
was
Christine.
born.
Sugar, especially if you're diabetic.
The first three, I think you're supposed to look at like the first three labels.
Know what how to read the nutrition label.
Yeah. Star Lord, you gonna find
Yeah,
something
we
on
might
it?
need
We're
a
gonna
separate tutorial
send you
for
something.
that,
Yeah, a
Christine.
different tutorial. But
Tell her to listen in about 15 minutes. Maybe I'll.
Oh yeah, maybe
Date.
I'll have Star Lord pop on and tell you because I didn't know how to read a nutrition label until he told me. Because I would be the one to shop in the store and be like, oh, it's gluten free or it's fat free. Now I actually that's why it takes so long because he's like, why did you take so long at the store? I'm like, because I flipped everything over and I read everything to make sure I'm getting.
I feel
good
like if you
stuff.
can't pronounce it, it can't be
Yeah,
good for
right.
you. You know, but anyway, I look at like the first couple of ingredients, and if the list is just ongoing, or
Yeah.
you have like corn syrup,
Mhm.
fructose, you know, like all these like sugary ingredients, it's not good for you. Anything with like coloring
Yeah.
as well.
Also, like I tend to look at the sugar, like the total sugar or the alcohol sugar, the
Mhm.
fat, how much protein's in it. Like this, we'll have Star Lord come on and explain it.
Good
Ooh,
question.
that was one of our topics. Yay!
That's so important.
Nice question, Val.
What do you do?
Rest days. I do well on Sundays. Usually my rest day. Sometimes I take another rest day during the week. It depends on how my body feels because I work out 6 days a week. So sometimes I will take off 2 days. It's either 1 or 2 days, and I'll do. I'll stretch. Pretty much just not do anything. I mean,
You
I don't
foam
lay
roll.
on the couch,
You
but
foam roll sometimes too.
I foam roll, I stretch, sometimes yoga, but not like intense yoga, just like and sometimes I'll just listen to music and just I don't sit around and like lounge all day. Like I still move and do stuff. I just not working out, I'm not lifting, I'm not
You
doing
could go.
cardio.
Yeah, I mean,
go for walks. Like,
yeah, go for a walk. You could still move, even
Yeah.
rest and recovery. It could still be movement
watch
of some kind.
Netflix.
I do something similar to. I do like active recovery
Yeah.
days now, where maybe it's like Pilates or maybe it'll be yoga, which I never thought I'd get into, but it really helps you stretch and balance and
Yep.
just gets me in a good headspace. And then the program I'm doing now through Beachbody, it's muscle burns fat. She has every Sunday, it's like dynamic recovery where you're stretching, and she wants to work on your mobility. Right. So when you're doing the squats and things like that. So some programs, like people work out 5 days and they take off 2. I find like maybe my bike rides will be my recovery day. And it's not like I have to go hardcore where I'm biking 20 miles, but when the weather gets nicer, I might just go for a leisurely ride for 30 minutes and just move my body. It doesn't have to be heavy lifting or things like that. I also go for massages now.
Ooh, yes,
as well.
massages.
Because there's definitely studies on that, and the fascia, I think it's called, which is like the casing that kind of holds like on top of your muscles. There's like been listening to podcasts about that as well. That you know that's really good for for anxiety, for physical health, and things like that. But the just foam rolling, you can get. I ordered one through Amazon, and sometimes I just lay on the foam roller and I just rub it across my
Active,
legs and.
What are they? Myofascial release.
And don't work through pain.
Yep. No.
There's a difference between burning muscle
Mhm.
and being fatigued from workout and pain.
I always ask my client because they'll be like, it hurts. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like it's burning?
Yeah.
Or like pain? Because if it's pain, you need to stop. They're like, no, it's burning. I'm like, okay, then it's working. So it's
Yeah.
good. Because sometimes be like, I'm hurt. I don't like it hurts. It hurts. What does that mean?
And there's always, you always said this to me too, and even the programs I'm doing, there's always a modified version of something.
Yes,
Like we don't,
yes.
no one has to be a hero and, jump around and do everything that if you're watching a video, like everything you're doing. Sometimes
Christine
over the
can
summer,
vouch for
Christine, you could vouch for this.
I always like
Weighted vests.
Yeah.
She's like jumping up and down. Everything. She's like, I got a weighted vest on. I'm like, I can't even use my own body weight to jump up and
Well,
down.
I
And she's got a
also-
weighted vest.
I do like live workouts every day with my clients in the morning. And I'll admit, I'll be like, listen, my back's a little sore today. I'll have them do like, there'll be a modified version and then there'll be an advanced version. And I'm like, listen, I'm doing the modified version today because my back hurts. Like I'll actually tell them, I'll be like, listen, you can either do it this way or that way, but I'm doing the modified because I don't want to hurt myself.
Modified doesn't mean you're not working hard. You're still pushing yourself. So
Yeah.
I had to modify with certain things because when I first started, like I expressed earlier in the podcast, my lower back was killing me. Remember, I would work out with you and she's like, all right, lift up both your legs and do this. And I'm like, it's bothering me. She's like, all right, do it this way. And I was still getting a burn and I was still getting if your form is breaking down, and this is what I'm learning through the programs I'm doing, you don't sacrifice your form because you want to lift heavier or you want to do this. If your form is breaking down, it's too much weight, it's too much, go down to the modified. And I'm not ashamed to go down to a modified. I might start off strong and then have to switch to a modified exercise. And listening to your body is just super important. And sometimes rest, you don't have to foam roll it, you just resting and get sleep. And
it's so important though. Like
it is important.
Stretching, like I stretch after every workout. It's tedious and a pain in the butt, but it's so good for you. And if you feel so much better after it. And even with the massages are great. Like the foam rolling is kind of like
you'll love it, Christine.
Oh yes. Oh yes, you will. It'll hurt like it because it's getting deep into the fascia. So it's like it's hurts.
So
but
good.
It feels so good after. Especially like when I start rolling like my legs, that's when I'm like,
well, it's kind of like if anybody's gotten a massage and you get like the deep tissue, that sometimes, it's like, oh, for a minute, they're really getting in there, but it hurts so good because afterwards you're like, oh my God,
I got dad like one of these like foam roller things for his legs and it goes around your leg and you just go like this up and down. And he was just like, oh, it's so great.
Yeah.
Like, just go up and down like that. And it's kind of like, it's just massaging the area.
Yes. Christine doesn't like people touching her. I don't believe
really?
So the foam rollers for you then?
Yeah, get the foam roller. I have to do a class. I said I would,
you could do a session,
like a quarantine, workout, just foam rolling.
Like a recovery workout.
I can do that on Sunday. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do that on Sunday.
We just gave you homework.
When is your foam roller coming in the mail? So yeah, no, that's very important. And even like I do acupuncture too, chiropractor. I have to because I have a bad lower back too. I'm not really sure what it's from. I think it's from softball and squatting, probably bodybuilding.
Your weighted vests.
And my weighted vest, yeah. Because I remember like when I was squatting, like I'm like, I have this pain like in my back and my knee would go out and I worked through the pain. And I think I made it worse.
Yeah.
And so don't do that. But
also like sometimes on my recovery days too, it could be a meditation. I've been doing, you can YouTube these too, a meditation as well.
Yeah.
And it's just like relaxation, getting a good night's sleep. If you're not doing yourself any good if you're just going hardcore constantly and you're beating up your body to an extent and you're not giving it time to rest, because that's when you're going to hurt yourself or you're going to pull something and then you're not going to be able to work out because you're injured.
Yeah, it sucks.
Okay, Mom.
You don't want what?
Mom's signing off. She has to make dinner.
Oh, what are you making?
Yeah, Mom, what are you making?
Oh, Val, do you do acupuncture?
I'm going to start.
Val.
Oh, Val does. Yeah. Sorry. Team Val.
Team Val. Woo! Sweet child of mine.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, well, she'll get back to us on
that.
Val
does.
Yeah, no, it really does help. Like, and my acupuncture guy is amazing. Shout out to Chris, NYC Studios. Awesome. And I feel so much better. And they have something called a AcuNap.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically they stick the needles in and then they leave you in there for like 15 minutes, like meditation music and the lights are kind of dim and it's like kind of getting a massage, except, you just there's like, what?
Mom
Oh,
answers,
great, Ma.
it's shrimp scampi with linguine. See, Italian household.
Take away the scampi and the linguine and you're all set.
No, you just do some
No, I'm
wheat
just kidding, I'm just
linguine.
kidding.
They
Yeah.
got a new pasta maker.
Yeah, it's really good.
And I'll tell you what, this is so funny because I love pasta and I'm going to eat it and I'm never going to give it up, right? I make a quick sauce. Colleen, Christine, you know that when you guys come over. But they got a pasta maker and it was so great. Like I said, I came over one day and I said, I really want wheat pasta. So my mother got the wheat flour, whatever it was, whatever ingredients. It was like
Yeah, I
3 or
think it was
4
wheat
ingredients.
flour,
It was
yeah.
all like the water, the egg, and whatever wheat flour. And it tasted so good. And my father, who is like wheat, oh, that's not pasta, but he ate it and he liked it and it was fresh. It took 2 to 3
Probably
minutes
'cause
to
it was
cook.
fresh. That's why he says the box ones.
Yeah,
are
the
crap.
box ones wasn't for him. It was fresh, and we still had pasta, So
No, the quick. No,
But
that
thanks,
wasn't I
Colleen.
over for that when we
the
were
quick
all,
sauce.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really good. I need to make a big pot, but I've been making the quick sauce.
But again, don't have to deprive yourself. You can eat all the things, but I just
Ma, I thought you were signing off.
and some semolina. I know and the semolina flour. Yes,
Oh my god.
it
But
was
no,
semolina flour, wheat flour, egg, and water.
They said you can make
I
chickpea
believe.
too. Dad said
You can make
I
chickpea. You
wanna
can
learn
make
how to do
spinach.
that.
Yeah. So, but again, you don't need the pasta maker to do that. I'm just using an example. Like I don't because I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not gonna. I just don't eat pasta every day. I don't eat bread every day. Or if I do, I'm picking like you do the Ezekiel bread, or sometimes you'll do a whole grain or whole wheat pasta.
Yeah, I've had I my go-to is Dave's Killer Bread. I think it's organic, and I do check the back of it. It's not
2 eggs. Mom's giving us the recipe on.
Thanks, Ma. I do like avocado toast.
Mhm.
That's usually my go-to. And I have to say, like hard-boiled eggs, I never used to like. Remember when I was a kid, we used to dye the eggs, and then I wouldn't eat the yolk. I would wash if any piece of yolk was on the egg white, I would wash it, and I would just eat the egg whites.
Because you're weird.
Yeah. So then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try and start. Val got me an awesome air fryer, so I started making hard boiled eggs in the air fryer, and they come out amazing. And I'm like, oh wow! I'm like, I eat eggs. Why am I not eating hard boiled eggs? So that was another thing.
I think
Star Lord, any
we have Vala's question.
questions coming in?
How do you feel
Sorry.
about working out in the evenings? But I can't read the rest of it. Can you see it?
Do the endorphins keep you up or help you sleep? Oh,
Oh, meaning like, is it hard to
Oh,
sleep?
no, it actually helps. I mean, after your workout, you're gonna,
Maybe
recover.
initially you're
Yeah.
gonna feel wired, but I think I think it's a good way to like sleep better at night, right?
Yeah, I sleep so much better. What?
Well, it was before my mom did
Oh,
that.
because I was talking about
So I would
hard-boiled eggs.
I would work out before dinner.
Yeah.
I don't know if Val you mean like after dinner, like an evening, like or a night workout,
Yeah.
but a lot of people do evening workouts. I
don't.
I always felt like
I used to when I was working at my other job, but
yeah.
now I do mornings. I'd rather get it over with in the morning, but everybody's different. It depends on your schedule.
But I don't think it's going to interrupt your sleep. In fact, I think
No.
it's going to initially you'll be wired, but I think that once you relax, and again, I think that's a really good time to do like a meditation, or I have a white noise machine that I put on the background instead of the television. I would sleep with the television on years ago. You're looking
Yeah.
at your phone. I try to like not look at all that stuff maybe a half an hour before I want to go to sleep because I'm overstimulated. And that's what keeps me up more than the working out.
What I noticed recently was the ring. Hold on, stay tuned. Like that. So is that too much, Star Lord?
No, it's good.
What? Oh, it would be look dark.
We're fine.
But anyway, I forgot what I was saying because it interrupted me. Oh, when I was okay. When I started doing this 8-week challenge that I was doing recently, I noticed like I'm doing 3 workouts a day because I do the quarantine workouts with Danny Graz. That's me. I do my own lift if I don't incorporate that with them, and then I do cardio. So I come home at like 7:30 and I eat dinner, and then I pass out like right away. And then I would wake up in the middle, like in the beginning of the challenge, I kept waking up in
Mhm.
sections. Now I sleep throughout, but it was just weird. Like, I guess getting into a new routine, your sleep is all messed up. So it does happen.
I think that's important too to like trick your body. I think a lot of us get comfortable with like a specific exercise or a
Yeah.
specific routine, but if it's too easy, then you want to change is what makes you grow.
Oh, yes.
So, and I think there's this misconception of like, oh, if I lift heavier, I'm going to have too much muscle and it's not going to look feminine or what.
Yeah.
But when you're building muscle, you're actually burning more calories than if you're doing just cardio every day. So I've noticed a change just because I'm not constantly doing cardio. I'm lifting, I'm doing cardio with weights, but every day it's like a different workout. Or if I'm doing upper body this week, maybe it's one or two of the same exercises, but like you vary it a lot in your workouts too. You like try different things. So you're like tricking your body, and your body's never getting super comfortable with one thing because it will adapt. And a lot of times you won't see that change. So it's important to like change it up. So I'm not a runner. Some of you may like to run. I hate running. I ran for softball my whole life. I didn't mind sprinting, but if I have to go outside to do any kind of activity, it's going to be a nice walk or it's going to be a bike ride.
Yeah.
Mainly a bike ride for me.
Star Lord,
Yeah.
what's the time for us here?
About an hour, a little over an hour and 5.
Did you want to hop on and do the nutrition label thing real quick before we end it? Or
It's up to you guys.
Christine, do you want to? I mean, listen, this isn't going to be the first one. I mean, we have so much, right? We have so much information that we could still talk about, but we don't want to be on here for too long.
If you guys have any
Like, yeah.
topics that you'd want
Send it to us.
send it,
We'll
send
add
it our
to
way.
the next one, but I think we're gonna do a couple more of these, like maybe like.
But
'cause
listen,
we could talk about this forever, but we don't want to.
I think what's important for everybody that's listening to is that you need to surround yourself with positive people and people that are going to support what you're doing. It's not to say that they're the ones that have to hold you accountable. You have to hold yourself accountable for whatever you want to do, whatever you want to get out of this journey. Like I said, for me, it's not dieting.
Yeah.
It's this. I want this to be my lifestyle. It feels good. It, just everything, the hydration, the movement, the sleep, not, no deprivation, still being able to enjoy myself, eating the pasta, having a glass of wine and do it, and everything in moderation. It's just educating yourself. I love listening to the podcast. I find like Christine's going to order her foam roller. That's great. Somebody mentions a book, I go order the book. Oh, that sounded great. Or I'll listen to the podcast, and just doing things that inspire you and motivate you. And what I started doing also is a gratitude journal. And I don't do it every day like I probably should, but sometimes I set my intention for the day and I just say what I'm grateful for, because so many times I could sit there and say, this sucks. I mean, how many times can we say that this past year? But I feel like it started off with the bike riding for me. When we first went into quarantine, I was biking. I was a fanatic. I was always out bike riding. And on the weekends, it was like 20 miles. But it wasn't just for the biking. It was therapeutic. It was like I was outside. I was moving my body. It just made me happy. I threw on audiobooks. I was like, oh, I don't have time to read all these things. So I'm going to listen to this as I ride. And I was doing like things that I enjoyed. And when you have people, and everybody on this that I know is always so positive in their feedback to me, when you have people that are willing to like not be negative and support you, you don't want to you don't want to sit there and be like, oh, you're eating that, why would you do that? It's like there's supporting each other with like, oh, I think that's great that you're doing that, or asking questions or saying, can you help me with this, or do you have recipes for that? Having conversations with people, like we're doing right now. I think that that's the best and having a community.
Mhm.
Like you're so like
Yeah.
you work your clients so hard. I'm sure they can speak to this better than me, but you work them so hard, but you're never like negative or like a hard ass in a way where it's like, okay, you push
No, no.
them and you also adapt to who your client is. It's like coaching. I coached for many years. I can't, the way I needed to be coached, the way my coach talked to me, the way that my father taught me something, I can't necessarily do that to kids I'm coaching because someone might be a little bit more sensitive. Someone
Mhm.
may not have the mobility. Somebody may need this, somebody may need that. So it's the same thing with fitness and nutrition. Just because we're telling you these things doesn't mean like it's the right, you have to pick and choose
Yeah.
what's right for you and really what you want to get out of it and your why,
I
right?
mean,
That's the
everybody's different, like I could be training somebody that's an athlete, uh, baseball player, and then I'm training somebody that's obese and needs to lose weight. Like it's totally, totally two different things. Like I'm not going to train somebody the same way I train the athlete.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, um, I
Oh,
guess
thanks, Christine.
yes, Christine.
Christina,
We're gonna be doing
boot
more.
camp
So
tomorrow, right?
yeah, boot camp for sure. Oh, before we end it, I wanted to promote some stuff. So Val is. Are you a Beachbody coach now? Are you
Yeah, so I
becoming?
started doing Beachbody and now like I just decided I loved it so much that I decided to be a coach, but I just like doing this. So the
Mhm.
podcast, this is all, it motivates me.
Yeah, you guys send us like topics and stuff. We'll talk about it, even if it's just fitness related. Um, but yeah, I do quarantine. So during the quarantine, I started. Uh, I was out of work because our gym closed, and I was like, "What am I going to do? I can't work out in the gym, and what am I going to do?" So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to come up with a boot camp online. It was free. It's still free. I do it I think Monday through Friday, and then I do Sunday. And Christine can vouch for me. Jean and Lauren did it too. Um, just every day, just working out different body parts and just having fun, playing music, and it's a lot of fun. It's just like a boot camp online that you could take. Um, Quarantine workouts with Danny Graz, right, Christine? And like we were talking about the community thing. I started a little community. It's Danny Graz Fitness, and it's just my clients only, and it's just sharing like recipes, workouts, just positivity. Because I know, like when I was talking to one of my clients the other day, she was saying how she, like she's not motivated, and I was like, you know what, I want to create. I was thinking about creating this community with all positivity and just people telling us your struggles and your what motivates you, and I just thought like that would
Well,
help
Christine
everybody
just
out.
said it changed her way of life.
Oh yay, Christine, thank you. And yeah, and boot camps on Saturdays if you're interested and you want to go to the gym.
There's something
um
for everybody.
yeah, I own a gym with my husband, um Viking Performance and Fitness, and I do boot camps on Saturdays. I just started it back up since now, we're kind of getting back to normal a little bit. And yeah, so
But I think that, like you said earlier, you just have to remember that the kitchen is just as important, right? Because you could do all the workouts and you can, like, I was riding my bike, like I said, 40 miles a week.
mhm,
And I was feeling good stamina wise if I had to, do, go for the
yeah,
distance I could, but I wasn't seeing the transformation in my body, the toning, everything that has happened since I've changed my nutrition.
mhm,
And like I said, I'm not depriving, I'm actually eating more and I'm eating smarter. And so that's what you always used to remind me of too. When I'd say, well, how do I, my stomach, how do I get, and you always say abs are built in the kitchen. It's not like I need a six pack or anything, but it's really what you're eating is most of what you need to change, right? Or alter. And then you're going to see those results when you're working out. And working out for everybody's different. So it could be my mother, she went offline now, but I remember years ago, she lost so much weight walking in the morning and walking in the evening, just
mhm.
walking. I think at that point she lost like 70 pounds. She was doing Weight Watchers and
Yeah.
she was walking. She wasn't lifting weights. She wasn't
Mhm.
doing, boot camps. I mean, there's something for everybody. And it's like, what do you enjoy?
Mhm.
And that's the thing. It doesn't have to be a punishment. It doesn't have to be something that you dread doing. I actually never, ever thought I would enjoy getting up and working out before school. But it's also made me a better teacher. I'm more focused first period. I sleep better at night. The students are probably looking at me going, why are you so hyper? And it's not even from caffeine. I'm just like, I've been up for
My
2 hours.
clients can
But
vouch for that too. They're like, you have so much energy. I'm like,
it sets your intention for the
Yeah.
day. And even if it's a gratitude journal, even if it's a listening to a podcast on your way to work, even if it's reading a book on your, just doing something that, you know, yeah, Mondo.
We're
We were
exiting soon. Relax.
Mondo, we were trying to reach out about intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
We
I
had
wonder
there
if
were some
he's still
questions
doing
about it. What's it
It's
called?
about intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting. That's what I said.
But,
Right?
like, just to add to that, like motivation. If
Yeah.
I would say was motivated every day, I would be lying. Because some days I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. and then as soon as I get into it, I'm fine. Like some days I'm like, oh God, I'm so tired. I don't want to do this. And you just do it.
You
So,
should. I think showing up is, even if you don't have the best workout some days, you show up and you're going to feel proud of yourself.
yeah.
But again, you're not competing with anybody but yourself. Um, Positivity on this
Yes,
podcast.
positivity.
So, does anybody have any
Yeah. Any more questions?
questions
And
or
then,
topics you'd like us to address the next time?
yes. Also, like I was just to add to this again, the nutrition
I know we could talk
part of
about
it.
this.
I know we're gonna end it in like a few minutes, but um, everybody's different. Like an athlete is gonna eat different than uh, you know, I don't know what else. What a bodybuilder or somebody that's obese. It's like when I started the journey, this new journey that I'm on right now, I would eat 3 meals a day and 2 snacks. Now I'm eating 5 meals a day or 6 meals a day because I'm working out so much that I have to intake those calories back in. So it could be different. Someone that's not moving that much and is only working out like a day or two a week, they're not going to intake as many calories as, say, me or you, because we're moving more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does vary with the calories.
That's why
I
I'm
mean,
so hungry
like
all the
Colleen
time.
saying working out, it's downfall. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, not everybody. I don't know if I even say it's working out. I think if you consider it
Just
moving,
Colleen, even if you just walk
take a walk.
outside, that just do that for now, and then you can always
Yeah,
incorporate
everybody,
the
like,
weights.
I think sometimes we're like, oh, I need to
It's
do
work. You
this,
think of it as work,
and I got to work out and I
Yeah.
got to get weights and I have to. I mean, you even eliminated those excuses too with the quarantine workouts where I said I don't have weights. Oh, that's okay. Use a water jug. Use this. Use that.
laundry
Use
detergent,
grab
water.
stuff. But it doesn't even
cans.
have to be weights. I mean, there's so many things. Just walking, just moving your body. But again, it's the nutrition piece, and it's making sure that you're not grabbing things that say they're good for you. If something has to be say that they're good for you, oh, this is healthy, this is fiber in it, then it probably isn't good for you.
Mhm.
But why would you have to advertise that, right? So there's a lot of misconceptions about, oh, raisin bran, for example. It's bran and there's raisins, but there's like so much added sugar.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're better off
Cereal's not the best.
reaching for something else, or so consider it movement, but really getting the nutrition. I think you would start to see a difference even like quicker, and you'll notice that you feel better. And I really think that, like we said earlier, it ties into mental health
Mhm.
as well. Anxiety, depression, um it just, that movement and the nutrition.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, I was like really having like panic moments at times. And I remember being asked, well, what did you eat today? And I said, that's a ridiculous question. What does that have to do with anything? And then when I listed either what I wasn't eating, oh, I only had coffee. Oh, I only had one meal.
Yeah.
Or if I was listing things that had a lot of sugar, that could keep me up at night or get me wired and give me more anxiety. When you really are mindful of what you're eating, you'll kind of, and journal, like Danielle said, you really can recognize some of the patterns of behavior. And don't eat mindlessly. Eat when
Yeah.
you're hungry. don't let yourself be starving before you eat. Give yourself the snack time and don't deprive yourself. And again, deprivation is not going to keep your
Yeah,
metabolism up.
starving is not like even another thing you could do. Like I know I try to eat every 3 hours, and I've been very good with it lately. But a lot of people are like, oh my god, what do I eat? But like even if you're just starting, just eat.
Mhm.
Because some people are like, I'm not hungry. I'm like, well, I know it sounds bad, but you kind of got to force yourself to eat. And I did that because I used to eat like a bird. Before I did bodybuilding, I didn't eat breakfast. I didn't eat till like maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And when I started bodybuilding, Star Lord was like, you have to eat constantly. And
Mhm.
I would cry. I would literally cry eating because I was like, I can't eat. I'm not hungry. Like you just have to force it down. And I started doing that. And after like 2 or 3 weeks, I started getting hungry.
Well,
So
because you're also
now,
building muscle.
yeah,
And
I'm like, oh my God. Like I had an alarm on my phone, meal one, meal two, meal three. And then I didn't even need that anymore. I was just like, I'm hungry. And then I'd be like, oh, it's mealtime.
yeah. Val said topic for the future, Long Island. I can't read the whole thing. Can you read
Long
that? Need a car?
Island. Oh,
Yeah.
Long Island need a car to get everywhere. How can one add more movement in daily routine?
You know,
yeah.
that's a good point because Val and Matt live in the city and they can bike places, they walk. I know
Mhm.
Matt, I don't know if you still like if you're working from home or not, but he would like walk to
Yeah.
work and tell me, so there's a lot more movement when you're living in the city because not everybody has a
Yeah.
car. But that's a really good point. It's like
I mean, I
I
could walk to the gym. It's not, I mean,
you
it's
could
going to be a
technically, yeah,
walk,
and we
but
don't. We
yeah.
don't and that definitely is something we could talk about in the
Or
future. But
bike. I'd ride my bike.
yeah.
But there's a lot of hills because it's like, but I just have to fight through it. But there are ways you could do it. A lot of people take, like, even some people are like, oh, I'm just going to drive down the block. Like, just walk.
Yeah, but
You
we
know, a
don't
lot of
do
people just get in the car because you're just
it's a
used to it.
culture. It's
Yeah.
like,
The
it's
city's probably a little bit different because,
but time of day, like I said, schedule the time for you. But preparation is so important.
yeah.
So if I want to get my nutrition on point, I have to kind of I think about my week. I'm not always great with writing it out, but I have to know what I'm cooking,
Hmm.
if I am ordering, how I'm ordering healthy, if there's a healthy option,
Yeah.
prepping my food. Sometimes I'll use Sundays because
Yes. Yeah.
as like my
Meal
day
prepping
where
days.
and meal prep doesn't have to be dinners for the whole week, but if you don't like to cook during the week, which I hate coming home and cooking some days, figuring out slow cooker recipes where you know that you
Mhm.
could just throw some things, freeze things, and a lot of times my leftovers become my lunch, right? So you're not just constantly thinking of new things. Oh, what am I making today? What am I making today? And giving yourself a break if you're tired, doing that. So the air fryer has been
Oh my God.
a
I cook
lifesaver
everything
for
in there
me.
now.
It's the cleanup is very little. It's healthier for you. I bought Danielle one, like she said earlier,
God.
and she will
I
text me
love it.
pictures all the time going, I made pork chops in there. I made salmon in there. I made eggs. I didn't even think to put eggs in the air fryer, but little things like that just can make it a little bit quicker. It doesn't have to be this like elaborate meal.
Yeah.
And, but planning and
Mhm.
thinking about if you want the snacks, and you have them in your house, you're going to go for a lot of times you're
Yeah.
going to go for those snacks. But if you have healthy options that you can reach for, you'll be less, you know, I mean, we'll want the cookie sometimes, but won't always be able to reach for the cookie. But I noticed too when I eliminated processed foods, I'm not saying I don't eat processed foods ever, but when I really started to eliminate that and I wasn't eating, I was like addicted to sugar.
Mhm.
So COVID ran rampant through our house in December, right? My whole family, that was really a turning point for us too. My dad was hospitalized. We were sick. And moving from here to there, can't breathe. And it's like, whoa, this is crazy. And I would be sitting there saying, I really want donuts.
While you were
I
isolating.
Instacarted donuts, the crumb
Did you
cake
really?
ones. Yeah, I told Frank, and Frank brought up the box. I was like, "Don't give
Oh
me the
my
whole box because I'm
God.
isolated now in the room.
Yes.
Like the last thing I need is a box of donuts." Well, guess what? The box of donuts was
Oh.
gone in like 3 days, and there was just at night I'd be like, "I want sugar. I want sugar. I want
Mhm.
sugar," and I just been listening to a lot of like the Beachbody videos or listening to podcasts, and even though I'm not always eating things that I know have sugar in it, the labels, the Raisin Bran, everything like that can have hidden sugars. So they're meant, and we're addicted to sugar. So what those cravings, they eventually went away from me. And not saying I don't want a cookie or things like that, but I try to alter like, oh, I'll have some fruit at night. I'm not really craving the sweets or those donuts right now. And if I do
Oh
have
my
a
God,
donut,
Mondo.
it's a cheat.
Jeez.
I know
All
he's so
right. I
positive.
guess we should.
No, we're not. We don't have to listen to Mondo.
No, we're
Anyway, any last
last comments, not from Mondo,
producer?
producer Star Lord.
Okay.
Um,
All right,
Christine. Oh yeah, we speaking of meals,
we're about to eat.
we have speaking of Christine, I'll probably send you something on the nutrition label thing, or I'll even do a video on it if she wants.
You guys can always private
Um,
message us or text
Yeah,
us.
private.
Or
I
things
can
like that.
always show you how to do it. It's pretty simple. It's not that hard. But yeah.
But thank you for joining
thanks,
us.
Mondo. Very nice of you. Very
Thank you,
positive
Mondo.
feedback.
See,
Thank you. So I
this
guess
was
we
fun.
Yeah. By the way, Staz and Graz is we were trying to figure out a podcast
Names.
name, so I think we're gonna stay with
Staz and Graz.
even though
It has a
that
ring to
is
it.
our husband's
Nope.
nicknames. But whatever, who cares?
We own it. We're gonna
we
own
own
it.
it now. But yeah.
Oh, we definitely will, Colleen. I'm so happy that you guys
Yay.
joined.
Yes.
You guys
Oh,
are
of
the
course.
best.
Next one we'll do a second part to this. I guess we have to figure out one more.
We could even set up, some of you guys, even Colleen, Christine. I'm thinking of some of my
Star
friends on
Lord.
here too. Even setting up group messages where you share recipes and stuff, like a
Yeah.
different thread. Sometimes that helps with people as well. My producer is what?
No, he's Star Lord's talking.
Okay.
to me.
All right,
Team
guys.
Monica, woo!
Team Monica.
All right,
Yay.
guys.
All right.
If you have any topics you want us to discuss next time, you can leave it in the chat here, or you could just message us and we'll add it.
Miss you guys.
Miss you. Have a good night.
Bye,
We're gonna go
everybody.
eat. Woo! All right. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.